That Lakers brought to you by Arrowhead at Mountain Spring Water. Chris McGee, Big Game James Worthy, Robert Ory, Mike Bresnahan, Mike Trudell is out in Orlando. The Lakers dropped their third in a row. Tough way to start this road trip. Orlando, a great defensive team, unleashes offense tonight, making 15 threes. Paolo and Franz Wagner combined for 62 points. Their bench scored 30 points. The Lakers gave up a 7-0 run to end that first half. They were up 9. And then that third quarter was all Orlando. Big game, 34-18, and the Lakers just not able to make that up in the fourth. Tough night.
It just goes to show you how critical those last 3 or 4 minutes, 2 minutes of the second quarter is. When you have a 9-point lead and there's 3 minutes to go, you can't put it on cruise control. You got to try to get that to 12. Or 14 even. That's when you got to step on them. But the Lakers refused to do that. And what happened is those 3 minutes gave Orlando a little bit momentum. You know, when you're going into the locker room, if you cut the lead down to whatever it was at half, what was it, 3 or 2? Two. When you do that, the coach is telling you, you know, they disrespect you, whatever. And then you come out and stink bomb the third. 18 points, Rob, you were telling me? Mm-hmm. That's unacceptable when you're on the road, the first road trip, and it just seemed like it wasn't enough intensity on the defensive end. Wagner, Paolo, they're good. I mean, they're big, they're strong, and they presented some problems in matchups. But I just didn't think the Lakers reacted with a sense of urgency, you know, having lost, you know, 3 in a row and then being the first game on the road where you had a chance to put a cushion on that 9-point lead. You gave them the momentum, and they came and took the game from them.
I just thought it was just too much Paolo and Franz. 32 and 30. You know, you think about that
Black at 17.
Yeah, off the bench he had 17. I never even heard of Mr. Black before tonight. And so you look at when you have the 2 superstars able to score 30, because you think about when our 2 superstars score 30 or more points, we usually get a win. And that lets you know right now they was in attack mode. You think about Paolo, he shot 12 free throws a night. He was in attack mode. You know, the only guy that really shoots a lot of free throws for us is Luka. And LeBron, you know, he got 7 tonight, but you show who's in attack mode. And I think sometimes we get so caught up on shooting threes. You know, you playing a team like Orlando, who's really not, it's, by law, by paper, it says a good defense. But name one player on that team outside of KCP that would scare you defensively. Nobody. Sometimes you have to take advantage of that. I think tonight we just settled for too many outside shots.
Yeah, a little worried about the Laker defense right now. Giving up 146 to Chicago 2 nights ago. Not exactly a high-powered offense. And giving up 118 to Orlando tonight. This team was dead last in points per game, or just under 105. So the Laker defense really struggling. Jackson Hayes, 5 fouls. See if he's okay. You know, not a lot of rim protection tonight, James.
Vanderbilt got foul trouble too, did he not?
Vanderbilt had 3 fouls in about 15 seconds in the first quarter. So he was definitely decaffeinated as far as what he could do defensively. And big picture, Lakers now only 2.5 games above Minnesota for 7th. What have we been saying for months? Whatever you do, do not end up in that play-in tournament. Lakers, you know, back-to-back tough losses to teams below 500 in the East. Definitely got to put together some wins with 3 games left in this road trip.
Yeah, let's talk a little Paolo. Paolo had 30. Franz Wagner had 32. These 2 guys were awesome. Rob, 9 of 17 for Paolo, but also the 7 rebounds, getting to the free throw line. He is big. He's physical. Franz Wagner, also great player. And those 2 just at the top of their game tonight.
Well, when you talk about athletic guys, young athletic guys, these 2 guys are at the top of that list. You talk about Franz, what he did to us the last time in our building in the game winner. You know, this guy has, you know, when you think of sometimes player, you think about, oh, his brother. But no, this dude is 10 times better than his brother. You know, he can put on the floor, he can get to the hole, he can shoot threes, he can put you on skates and score on top of you. And he has an attitude like nobody can stop. So I like this guy because when you talk about cocky and you put it on the court and you show it and you back it up, this guy's one of those guys. And this young team, you know, I think if they didn't have all those injuries, think about last year what they was able to do in the playoffs. This is a good team, you know, and sometimes you forget. And you look at a record sometimes, the record doesn't dictate what kind of team this is. This is a really good team, and I think they showed it tonight.
Orlando was charged up, by the way, so Dwight Howard, who won ring with the Lakers, obviously, was getting inducted into the Orlando Hall of Fame, and this was after the game. Dwight was feeling it.
Dwight Howard, 2-time Laker, 3-time Laker, right? I forget how many times he was here. Very good player for the Magic. And, yeah, I guess they can celebrate. They scored 118 tonight when points have been hard to come by. And Rob, to your point, this team is really not the 8th best team in the East. That's where they are in the standings coming into tonight's game. Banchero got hurt in the 5th game of the season. He missed 2.5 months. I just can't stop watching Dwight. I mean, that's fire. Whatever.
I can't.
I mean, Banchero got hurt, or else this team would be much higher in the standings, probably fighting for that 4 seed. Maybe even 3.
Let's focus on the Lakers, guys. Losers of 3 in a row. They've lost 7 of 10. You got Indiana and the Bulls on a back-to-back coming up.
Yeah.
Those are tough games. And then obviously at Memphis, and you come home, you face the Rockets. So a crucial stretch here. Big game. Brez had mentioned the defense trying to figure out roles again once guys get healthy and have come back. Yeah. That's always takes a little bit to navigate through. But, you know, they've been a little streaky. No question about it. And this is a crucial time. So you can start to look at the standings and see a little bit of slip, obviously.
Yeah, a little bit too streaky for my comfort, because a team that, you know, built their reputation of late, particularly after the trade of AD and Max, on small ball defense. You know, Hayes, Rui, guys getting the job done collectively, steals, quickness. And that seemed to have kind of taken a little nap, you know, in these last few games that they've lost. They got to figure out how to way to let that be their #1 priority. I mean, offensively, they're not going to have a problem scoring. But when you can only score 18 points and the other team is just doing whatever they want, that's something to be concerned about, especially when you're on the road. The only thing you have on the road is your defense intensity. And if you don't have that and you can't make stops, you got a problem.
Yeah, I look at the defense and you think about, you look down the line, you're like, okay, how many block shots did the Lakers have tonight? 1. Oof. How many steals did the Lakers have tonight? 7. You know, that's a sign of how hard you are playing defense. If you think about what Dodo and Vando can do, get in the pass lane, what LeBron can do in the pass lane, it seemed like that intensity wasn't there. I don't know if because, you know, Vando is that guy who comes out the bench and livens him up defense. He got in foul trouble. He kind of didn't have that same intensity. But to me, the defense tonight was kind of like, okay, we're going to do this. In that zone, I don't know if they need to just scrap that, because they shot them out of that zone. They stayed in it. And for me, if something's not working, especially like a zone, you got to move back to what you're used to, and that's man-to-man defense. And that was one of the things that I was looking at. I'm like, are they still in the zone? Are they getting waxed like this and they still in the zone? So it didn't make sense to me.
The Laker bench, 14 points. Outscored by Anthony Black, 17-14. So the bench, you know, Dalton Connect didn't play a lot, didn't score a lot. He's been pretty good lately.
He only got 5 minutes. So
yeah, you got all these guys coming back, so you got to hope the bench kind of picks up where they should be, because, you know, 14 points, it's not a good total for any game at any time.
All right, let's get you to the highlights. Coach, 118-106, the Magic. Franz Wagner goes for 32, 13 of 26. Paolo, 30 points on 9 of 17. Anthony Black, 17, 3 of 5. Magic go to 34 and 38. The Lakers, 43 and 28. Let's hear from J.J. Redick. Speak with Mike Trudell in the media.
JJ, did you see any differences between kind of the defense that you played first half and you get to the 9-point lead before they make that run, and then the second half and just the shots Orlando was able to get?
Yeah, we had a really good intention to start the game. You know, we tried to clean some things up in film today. We still got to clean some things up with some of our execution of coverages.
With LeBron and Rui coming back, ramping up, how much kind of grace are you allowing for the team to find a rhythm and all that versus, you know, what you're seeing defensively just not quite look the same? Yeah,
we're going through it a little bit, and we got to get back into the flow and the rhythm and those guys. You know, I think it's not just them getting back into their flow, but it's the group and how the group functions.
Yeah. JJ, I know you just mentioned the group, but on an individual level, when we talk about players getting into rhythm and shaking off the rust, I think mostly we talk about them on offense. LeBron had been such like an anchor for you guys defensively.
Yeah.
Is there rust on that side of the ball too? You know, like, is it the same activity level, the same talk as he's tried to kind of get back?
You know, nobody was good against Chicago. He was much better tonight.
JJ, you spoke to us pregame about the success that Franz had against you guys in LA. When you guys cut it to 7 in the fourth, it was kind of Franz taking over a bit. Was that, you know, obviously his talent, or was there anything defensively that you would have liked to see there?
Not letting him get to his right hand would be one. And I think overall, as the game wore on, you know, we have a phrase, redding up or red up when we switch, and we were very much passive when we switched onto the ball. Banchero hit a 3 on that, and when you don't red up against a guy like Wagner, he's now got a step into your airspace with thrust and momentum, and he's hard to stop.
We've talked about you've talked about Grace, and you even talked about the bad defensive habits pregame that developed. Does it feel like there's enough time to make this, I guess, quick fixes, or does it feel like you can make quick references to when you guys were doing some of these things early in the season, so I guess turn it around quicker?
Yeah, I mean, again, I think it'd be nice. We're going to hopefully get some court time in Indiana on Wednesday. I think there is time, but you know, we've got to be very strategic about how we use that time outside of games.
Coach, we saw a different attitude defensively against Denver. What does it take for you to see your team going to that level of intensity?
I mean, it wasn't just against Denver. We had it for about 25 games. We can get back there. There's, you know, I think a couple guys maybe from the schedule and being in and out of the lineup, and a couple guys being injured, like I don't know, we look tired, and I don't know what contributes to that. That happens periodically throughout a season where the group gets tired. That's what it feels like right now. You know, again, we weren't able to sustain our level of intensity that we started the game with, and our guys, I thought, started out really well.
Shut it loose. Just needed more of that.
Yes.
More of that.
Austin finished with 18 points. Let's go inside the locker room. He's with Mike Trudell.
Austin, what are the things that you think you guys need to do or execute defensively the way that you were, you know, a couple weeks ago to get back to that level?
Just, you know, paying attention to the details, competing every single possession, and just, you know, guarding your yard. You know, we have to do it as a collective group, every single possession, you know. Yeah, we got to have 5 guys on a string.
Chicago and Orlando have both played well, played hard, so they've been good tests in that sense. Were there similarities between the two games, you felt like, on that end of the floor, and are there any kind of specifics you can refer to?
They both shot the ball well from 3. Yeah, I mean, we gave up too many points through 3 quarters. Fourth quarter was a little better, but still not to the standard that we want. So we got to get back to guarding, you know, like I said, with 5 guys and everybody being, you know, connected on a string. And if anybody gets beat, low man's got to be there. The X has got to be ready. So, yeah.
How hard has been the chemistry of the team? Guys coming out, coming in to develop that chemistry so far?
I mean, that happens throughout the course of a year multiple times. So I don't think that, you know, that's the problem. You know, we're happy to, you know, get everybody back healthy and like I said, have everybody on the court. We just got to, you know, be better than we have been the last 2 nights.
I think JJ showed us pregame that Nate said in coaches meeting, it's like a good defense, a good team defense is a talking team defense. As you guys have tried to kind of recapture the things you were doing well on that side of the ball, how do you feel the level of talk has been? Is that has been good enough?
In spurts, I think it has been, but that's not good enough. If you get what I'm saying, you know, you can't be, when you're getting stops, you can't just be talking. Like, if they score a couple possessions, it's okay. Like, they're gonna score. You got to continue to do that even when you go a couple possessions without getting a stop. You got to be consistent on that end. I thought we started off the game tonight with, you know, a lot of communication, and then when they go on a little bit of a run, I think we kind of get quiet a little bit. We can't do that. You got to continue to, you know, figure things out through the flow of the game, and not just, you know, talk when things are going good.
One of the things that was, I think, a defining characteristic of you guys during that 30-game or so stretch where you're one of the best defenses in the league is that, like, if something did go wrong, like, you guys had a really quick sort of next play mentality. Like, if you were going to let a guy see a shot or something like that and he made it, it was like, oh, well, like, let's keep it rolling.
Yeah, you can't. Like I said, there's not many NBA basketball players in the world, so the guys that are in the league are good players, and if they make a shot, regardless of what percentage they're shooting from the field at the time, if they're going through a shooting slump, not, I would say 98% of the league can make a three in a game, so you can't just, oh, the world's, you know, burning just because, you know, something that you don't think is going to happen happens. You got to continue to, you know, stay, you know, the course, pay attention to the details, and continue to compete. We got to get our compete level back to what it was.
Last two.
How do you think the execution was against Franz Wagner overall? JJ mentioned to us that he obviously pointed out how well he played against you guys the first time around, and it seemed like he would kind of close the door on you guys after you cut it to 7 in the fourth.
Yeah, I mean, he's a really good player, and he made a couple tough shots. But, you know, I'm sure if we go back and watch the film, there's things we could have done to, you know, kind of, you know, cool that down a little bit. But like I said, he's a really good player that made a couple, you know, really tough shots in those situations, and we just got to be better.
What did you see offensively?
Last question.
Offensively in the third quarter.
I'll have to watch the film on that. You know, I think when we score 18 points, you know, that's not good enough in today's NBA. We got to figure out how to be better. You know, especially, you know, against a switching group. Yeah, we got to continue to play with the pass and you know, make defenses play what you call in the blender. Get downhill, get a guy to help, swing, attack the closeout. And we didn't do that, you know, in that third quarter. Appreciate you.
All right, big game, Rob. Let's talk a little LeBron. We're not hearing from him tonight, but he is back now. Played 38 minutes. Was an efficient 9 of 18, also 6 rebounds and 7 assists. You've watched now both games, James. Just did you see a difference tonight, just in the way he attacked, or, you know, starting to get back in the flow?
I think he's almost back. I didn't see the LeBron like that explosiveness, that intensity over a long period of time. I saw like glimpses of it. So I think he's still trying to get back. But, you know, there's no question he was out for a week or two. And, you know, he's back. His stamina looks pretty good. He's strong. He doesn't seem to be laboring at all. So that's a good sign. But I think he's still getting used to, you know, being back. Doesn't get any calls. Never gets any calls. Yeah. But it never gets any texts either. I'd have to get me a text a week if I won't get any calls like that. But, you know, he's set out. He watched Luka play. He kind of allowed that to happen. Now he's back trying to, you know, not reinvent himself, but just get re-familiarized with what's been going on the last couple weeks without him.
And I think the players are trying to get to knowing him again.
Yep.
Because so many times, you know, the players forget that LeBron brings a different game to the game.
He does.
You know what I mean? And so he never know what he's going to do, because it's not one thing on the court he cannot do. And for me, I think that's one of the things, because Luka and Austin Reeves, they were having fun without LeBron. They were taking a lot of shots. You know, they can get in their rhythm. Now that LeBron's back, You know, the big dog, you got to share that wealth. And you can tell tonight, especially with AR, it was kind of like a little what do I do moments there. But I think it's going to take some time. You know, I know
Rui too missing all those.
Yeah,
games
and
right
Rui.
So figure out his role again.
Yeah, you know, like I said in pregame, it's just going to take some time for these guys to get everything going. But you could see when they were 100 how good they can be.
Yeah, but as James said, defense is the one thing you have to bring.
You got to bring that.
And you know, AR just talked about it. It's got to be consistent.
Yeah, it's got to be every night.
Spurts is, you know, can't get down. Teams are going to score.
Yeah.
And you just have to keep playing consistent defense. And
foul trouble didn't help much tonight with Vanderbilt getting out early and fouls. You know, you got to do it without fouling. But that's the thing that Orlando presents. They're coming at you. Wagner's coming at you. Powell's coming at you. You know, they're a decent team. So the Lakers just got really out-muscled tonight. But they got to figure out how to bring that defense. From the beginning, you had a 9-point lead. That, to me, lets me know you just kind of had a mental letdown, let them back in the game.
All right, more to come on Access. Luka finishes with Finney Smith. He's standing by with Mike.
During the kind of defense that you guys play really requires a lot of, you know, effort and communication and all that. Where do you feel like you need to get to as a group to get back to that level?
We just got to put a 48-minute game together. That third quarter was tough. We let our offense mess up with our defensive energy, and it was just tough to, you know, fight back.
Do you get the sense of, you know, like the NBA, there are the ebbs and flows to it, but obviously playoffs are coming up soon. Do you feel like you guys do have enough time to get back to that level?
For sure. You know, we needed the adversity, especially being a new team. You know, we get to learn a lot about each other. You know, during tough times, you usually don't see things when you're winning. So we got the chance to, you know, grow, and we're gonna use this opportunity to grow.
Is there one area of the game tonight that you're like, if we clean this up, we'll give ourselves a better chance in Indiana?
For sure. Just gotta rotate a little quicker and you know, box out. You know, but I feel like that third quarter we let our offense mess with our defensive energy.
We've talked with JJ. He's talking about over the past couple of weeks some of the bad habits developed defensively. With only 11 games left, I guess is there confidence you guys can get back to that level because you have reference points of what it looked like at a higher level defensively?
Yeah, for sure. You know, we told on ourselves. We showed we can do it. So, you know, it's up to us. You know, we got to hold each other accountable and do it. You know, we're asking to help each other. You know, sit in gaps, and that required a lot of effort and energy, and we got to put a 48-minute game together.
All right, guys, big shot. Time for a little Access 360.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm going to the wall.
You go to the wall? Well, when you have a nice suit like that in the shoes, I feel like
there's a model.
You're showing off.
I'm just going to the wall because, you know, I don't want to fall asleep up here. Because that's what the defense had done for the Lakers tonight. I fell asleep, especially on these rebounds. I'm going to show you in this break there. Right here, there's good defense getting back transition. Look, the contest by there. Look, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, technically 5. Where are you going, Jackson? Get back. Look, the smallest guy on the court gets it back. No effort. Nobody even left the floor to try to get there. You know, move the ball, get it back to who? The guy who tipped the ball out. KCP knocked down 3. Splash. Can't have that. You know, defense is the key win. Now we're in the zone that I talked about earlier. Look, penetration to zone. One of the things you cannot do in the zone is give up offensive rebound, especially to guards. Guards, right here, Rui, what are you doing? Box out someone. What are you doing, Vincent? Box out someone. Nobody box out the smallest man on the court outside of Gabe Vincent. He gets his rebound and then bully Gabe Vincent and go back up for layup. Offensive rebound. Now we get a good shot right here. We got good defense, really good contest. I like that. But now we got to box out. LeBron, look around, move, and box out someone. If you just take one step to your right, you box this guy out. But look, wrong rebound. I know it didn't go to the elbows like it usually does. But that time they got out. Now you get the best player on the court. Splash, 3-point play. Jump shot. And that's one of the things about when you try to play a zone, from high school to middle school to even college, they tell you have to box out in the zone. You have to put your head on the swivel if you're going to try this zone because that'll kill you. You got to box out. You know that. Even that guy ought to know that. Everybody knows that when you play a zone, that's the main thing you give up is offensive rebounds.
Yeah, I was a 6'1" power forward in high school, so I could box out.
He knew how to box out. By the way, it's like a wedding suit. That suit is nice.
Wow, 3 pieces.
I'm getting ready to go to a wedding after this.
Oh, yeah? Great breakdown. Monday wedding, huh?
It's a late night.
That's a good time. Yeah. Brez? Yeah. LA struggling on the road.
Yeah, Geet, 15-19 on the road. If you take the top 6 teams in the East, the top 6 in the West, Guess who has the worst road record? The Lakers. Why is that pertinent now compared to a couple weeks ago? When they were second in the West, you could say, okay, we'll worry about the road in the conference finals if we get there and OKC gets there. That's what the Lakers' mindset might have been. But now they're tied for fourth, only a couple games ahead of Golden State, who's right back there in 6th, and 3 games ahead of Minnesota for the play-in tournament. Minnesota lost tonight, so that's good for the Lakers. Now the road becomes a little bit more of a factor. You got to play better on the road. And a little oddity, even more odd now. Lakers now 13-15 against the East. That's not the power conference other than those 2 or 3 teams. So definitely some weird losses against that conference keep.
Yeah, that one. Charlotte, obviously. Brooklyn comes down. A couple of those games that
few of them.
just kind of let slip away.
Orlando.
Atlanta.
Chicago.
All right.
Yep, on along.
Wednesday on the road, taking on the Pacers. You're going back-to-back on a Thursday.
Going up on Thursday.
Taking on the Bulls. Then you got a Saturday game, Rob. It's the Memphis Grizzlies. Come home, Rockets, Warriors. That is a big stretch and a tough stretch right there. We'll be right back. All right, another 30-point game for Luka, his 5th in the last 6 games. He's speaking with Mike in the media.
Luka, where do you feel like the difference kind of between that rhythm you guys had been in and the defense from these last 2 games, and where do you feel like you have to, as a team, what do you have to get back to it?
I think we just got to look back at the way we play on that 8-game winning streak. You know, we're physical. We play hell of a defense. And I think we just got a little bit satisfied, so we can't afford that right now.
Did you feel like you were getting closer to that in the first half? JJ mentioned it. You build the 9-point lead until they have that good run to end the second quarter. Did you feel like there were elements of it tonight?
Yeah, I think we started the game that way, especially that first half. I think we were playing great defense. You know, I think they made some tough shots in the first half. And the way we play first half, I think we got to play the whole game. The game of basketball is not just 24 minutes. It's got to be all 48.
Luka, Dorian told us post-game that he thought the third quarter offensive struggles that you had seeped into the defensive effort. Who's it incumbent upon when that happens? Who on the team should be speaking up or can recognize that and try to change that midstream versus have that happen the entire quarter?
I honestly think it should be not just one person. It should be everybody. Everybody should be able to. Obviously, not always going to be everybody, but I think me and Bron, I think we should be the guys, you know, to do that, and that's on me. Obviously, I got to do better. I got to talk more. And I think I talked in first half, then just kind of voice down, and I shouldn't do that.
Luka, you referenced that 8-game winning streak. I think you guys are now 6-7 in March. Guys have been in and out of the lineup. Some have been hurt. Some have had, you know, back-to-backs and schedule and all that stuff. Like, what's just the overall rhythm of this month been like for this team? And what's it been like trying to fight through it, I guess?
I mean, obviously it's hard, but we get paid to do that, so that shouldn't be an excuse. You know, everybody at some point has a tough schedule, so that shouldn't be an excuse. And we gotta look at how we're playing. We just gotta be better. There's no other thing to say.
Luka, you referenced the 8-game winning streak. You guys have been playing. You guys played high level defense for 20, 25 games before you were here, including after you got made your debut. Does the fact that you guys played at that level, play with that physicality, play with that attention to detail, give you confidence that you guys, I guess, can fast track things in these last 11 games to get back to where you guys want to be?
Yeah, we definitely need to get back. Like Jay just said, you know, we told ourselves, we know we can do it, and we just got to look back and maybe watch some film from those games, how we play. We're physical, we're flying around, and, you know, we told ourselves, and we know we can do it.
Luka, hemos visto un equipo de los Lakers cuando están en alta defensivamente con la energía, como en Denver, que ustedes no estaban jugando, y un juego como hoy, la energía bien baja. ¿A qué se debe? Es que los jugadores como tú y como LeBron han estado fuera, entrando, saliendo, interrumpen un poco la química del equipo o a qué se debe?
No sé, la verdad, si los hubiera no hubiera pasado, pero sé que había gente que estaba jugando, gente que no, también es difícil, siempre hay alguien fuera, siempre hay alguien que no está, y entonces para construir esta química tenemos que estar todos, y ahora mismo estamos todos y no podemos permitir que pase eso.
Luka, as one of the veterans on this team, and one of the leaders on this team, how do you plan to motivate the team to bounce back after this loss?
Did you say vet?
Well, a
I'm the
leader.
vet.
As one of the leaders on this team, how do you plan to, motivate the team to bounce back, especially with the playoffs approaching?
Yeah, first we gotta get into the playoffs. There's nothing guaranteed in this league, but I think I gotta talk more. Get everybody in position. Trying to be a good leader. I'm still new to the team, but getting more comfortable talking more and more. So we gotta talk more, and then the last thing, we gotta be more physical on both ends.
Luka, there's some really great duos in this league, yourself and LeBron. What makes Franz and Paolo so special, and what challenges do they pose for opposing defense?
I mean, they're both great players. That's the first thing that makes them special. They're young, and this team is built around them. And obviously saw how they started this season. They had some bad luck with injuries, but this team is built around those two, and just trying to stop them is very hard. They can do a little bit of everything, and those two are special players in this league.
Thanks, Luka.
All right, let's talk a little Luka. In the last 3 games, 32.3 points, 47%, 50% from 3. Close to 8 rebounds, close to 7 assists. But as he said, he'd rather get wins, big game James, than the numbers.
Of course. I mean, look.
But he's doing.
I mean, numbers aren't his problem. Yeah. He can put up numbers, whenever he wants to. It's just how effective, are the numbers. And I think Lucas, it takes a little time to get used to everybody. I think he's still experiencing that. He probably needs to be a little bit more verbal, as he mentioned. Tonight, though, I just think, he had 7 assists. LeBron had 7. And as a team, they only had 19. Anytime they're below 25 assists, it's just not moving enough. Luka is a primary ball handler, and sometimes it's up to him to kind of figure out what the pace is going to be, if the ball's going to move, or if he can get it to other players and get touches. For a while there, when the Lakers were winning, man, everybody was getting a touch because it was moving, and they were getting about 25 to 30 assists a game. So if that's an area of leadership he needs to concentrate on, maybe that's one area he can help in.
For me, if you look at the numbers Luka had when we winning, I think he's like 2 or maybe 3 plus more assists. And for me, that's what he needs to do more. We all know you can score. I think when he gets a lot of guys involved, especially Jackson Hayes, he's much better. Because some nights he comes out, he's looking to do a little bit of everything. And then some nights he's looking out coming straight to score. And as of lately, because of LeBron being out, I think he's in that mindset of I got to score. And he doesn't really have to do that because you cause so much attention when you drive or when you have the ball in your hand. Make the extra pass. Because when you do that, the other guys do it. Because when you don't do that, when they finally catch it, you know what they're going to do? They're going to shoot it. And so it's so contagious when people take shots that are bad shots in my mind, that the other guy's going to take a bad shot. So I know, Luka, you're the head of the snake. You got to sometimes come out, you know what, like Kobe used to do it. He would get guys involved. LeBron do it, get guys involved. Because we know with the ball been in your hands so much, you won't get yours. So I think that's what they got to go into mindset in these next couple games. Luka, get everybody involved because you're going to get yours anyway.
I like what he said as soon as he sat down and started answering questions. He said, look, we were playing great ball. We won 8 in a row. We got a little complacent. We got a little self-satisfied. And that's why we're in this mess. He asked for, kind of rededicating ourselves to defense. He thought that would be a big deal. Because obviously, you can't give up 146 and then 118 to Eastern Conference teams that really aren't that great offensively.
Yeah. It starts on that end.
It starts on that end.
You're right.
So I like when Luka's pinpointing exactly what's going on. He said, let's go back to basics. Let's drop the complacency, whatever it is. he sounded like a leader, especially answering that first question.
Yeah. All right, guys. We'll be right back after this. Lakers fall